Hi everybody, Bernie Gallerani with Bernie Gallerani Real Estate, and we have a treat here. We've got Miss Eleissa Brown on our team, who's, I think you've been with us for
This is the 9th year.
Has it been 9 years?
Like this year, at the end of this year, it'll be 9 years. So.
It's been 9 years. Wow, time has gone by quickly. And of course, if you could share, like, you started off with us as an inside sales agent,
Yes.
right? How did you like that job?
It was good because it taught me the value of making the calls, putting in the time, going through the, as you call it, repetitious boredom. So it really got that out of the way so that I could learn the value in all of that to then implement in my business.
Being in the ISA role, in case for those that don't know, it's an inside sales agent, and you were obviously calling leads that we had within our software, trying to convert them into potential buyers or sellers, correct?
Yes.
So what was the hardest thing about that particular job?
I mean, it's tough just sitting there on the phones day in and day out and talking to people, and a lot of people are frustrated or don't want to talk to you. And so I think learning the value of the rejection is really a hard thing to get through, but once you figure it out, it's an integral part of being successful in the business. So I think learning the rejection and learning the value of just sitting there and going through the repetitious boredom, which then ultimately leads you to the good outcomes.
Would you say that because obviously you've been in the company for 9 years, you were in that job, I think, about 4 months as the inside salesperson before you jumped onto the agent side. And then looking at what our agents go through today, even now that you do that at a much higher level now than you probably even did then,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Do you think that is the one thing that people don't really like, is that they feel rejected when talking to people on the phone?
I think that's probably, if you were to poll 100 agents, that's probably 99% of people's biggest complaint, is that they don't want to do that work and go through that process. Because everyone wants to get in front of clients and do the deal. That's the fun part of the business. The not fun part of the business, but what's so important is creating the opportunities, and the way that you do that is on the phones and having those conversations.
Yeah, talking to people.
Yes.
Yeah, and I guess I would just share, and I don't know how you feel about it, but when I would do that work at a high level, I had to continue to keep convincing myself that they weren't rejecting me.
Yep.
They were just rejecting my conversation of trying to help them. And I had to then determine whether or not I could say something to get them to change their mind. So how did you play a trick on yourself maybe, or what mental process did you go through to try to keep yourself moving forward?
Well, I think once I talked to enough people and I realized that I could talk to the same person on 2 different days and get 2 different people. So I think I learned that it depends on when I get the person. Am I catching them on a bad day? Did they have something going on in their life that might have had them reject the conversation at the time? That then if I talk to them a different day, maybe I get a different story. So that was one thing. And then number 2 is tracking my numbers to really understand that every no also got me closer to a yes. Mm-hmm. So I knew that I had to make X amount of contacts to set an appointment, to take a listing, to close a deal. So I knew that every time I talked to somebody, I was just one step closer to that.
It's so hard for other people to understand that, though, right? Like, you and I can look at that and go, okay, well, there's so many no's that are going to happen before we get to a yes.
Yes.
And yet we have to go through more no's in the beginning because our skill level isn't really there, right? And so what I try to share with people, with a lot of agents, is there's probably many of those people that they hear say no to them, that somebody more seasoned will have gotten a yes from them, mm-hmm. right? And so to learn how to get to the yes, you have to work on the skill enough to get them to say yes sooner. When did you finally feel, because you obviously jumped from that role into becoming an agent, still then spent more time, even more so, talking to people on the phone. At what point, how long, how many years or months or weeks or whatever did it take for you to realize that you actually felt comfortable through the process?
I mean, I'm still learning every day. You know, I mean, I come across opportunities that sometimes I don't know how to handle or think, oh, I could have handled this better. But I would say that I had to be at it for a solid 3 or 4 years before I really felt confident that I could have a good conversation most of the time. Now, a lot of that was also my age. You know, I was not only learning a new skill, a new business, but I was also growing as an adult. So I think sometimes people could cut that learning curve a bit if they come with more life experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd say it took me a solid probably 3 or 4 years before I really felt confident in the conversation.
And what's cool, what she just said, is what we didn't talk about in the beginning of this video is you were only 20 years old when you started with the company as an inside sales assistant.
Yes.
And then you became an agent, and we celebrated your 21st birthday, and you were already an agent. Yeah. So here you are really working mainly on the listing side of the business. Let's talk a little bit about the challenges that you had with getting in front of people at 21, 22 years old to list a $500,000 or $1 million house. How did you deal with those conversations that were so beyond your level of life experience?
Yes. Gosh, I mean, there was quite a bit. I think, again, just not only learning a new business, a new skill that comes with a lot of just difficulty in general, but then learning how to be an adult in the process and dealing with a lot of clients that had more experience in the real estate business in life than I did. I really had to come across a lot more confident, and I had to have a lot more knowledge than I think anybody else. So I really had the mindset that if I could outwork people, if I could know my stats and really just be on my game more, I had to be that much more on my game in order to win people's business.
Yeah. And so when you'd get asked, because obviously you were 21, 22, 23, you looked that age at that particular time, you had people asking you your age, right? And share with everybody what you would say to try to overcome that.
Well, I can't because I'm still using it. I'll tell you next year.
You can use it. Let's share with everybody what you say.
I'm dreading the day I turn 30.
Which you're still not 30.
Yeah, I know. So I'm milking it for one more year.
So even when you were 22 and 23, you were using that line.
Yes.
And do you find that line actually worked for people who then would just drop the concern?
Yes. I mean, of course, I still had to build that rapport. I had to earn their confidence. But I think that at least helped get them off of it to at least give me the opportunity to earn that.
Yeah. Well, it's so powerful. And if I can spend some time with you in the future going deeper into your story, because it's so amazing, your goal for 2025 production-wise is what?
115 transactions.
115. Wow. And so that is a significant amount of money, obviously, for you.
Yes.
Under 30, already a multimillionaire. How do you keep it all together in your life, knowing that you have all of this money and all of this level of success? How do you keep grounded?
Well, I think having a really great coach and setting new goals all the time is super important. I think I learned very early on that you have to become a different person in order to reach each different level. So although if you ask myself 8 years ago, what would life be like if I had what I had today? I'd say, oh my gosh, I've made it. But now that I have what I have, I realize that there's a whole new level that I need to get to. So I think always setting new goals, making sure that you have the right support system around you to keep you level-headed, but also keep you going and knowing that there's more always to achieve.
There's always more to achieve. And, and I want to let everyone know I stole her out of the hallway today for a few minutes before she was going out on another appointment. So, but I promise you this, I will steal her back for a longer, more detailed interview. So thank you, Eleissa, for being a part of this.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.